Okay, Monday. I think we need to be a little bit careful early in the week, having a look at these two charts, the NASDAQ on the left and the volatility index on the right. I'll come back to these just quickly. We've got these events later in the week. Jackson Hole, unemployment claims, but this is an all-day event. And then we've got Fed Chairman Walsh speaking. This will really impact the markets. In this market analysis I posted today, if you have a read of that, I mean, the main thing is the market rallied last week, and I mentioned here, don't let the green candles fool you. Okay, have a look at that. Okay, so we've got these events into the end of the week, right? I believe the markets are pricing in a neutral tone, which means any surprise, hawkish or dovish, will move everything. Okay, be careful. Short-term setups could carry a high fake-out risk, right, until these events toward the end of the week are done and dusted. Right now we've got the this dropped off. The VIX, the volatility dropped off, giving the markets a little bit of confidence. Now, if we have a look at the NAS, okay, we've had a little bit of a rally here, but it continued to drop, then another rally. Okay, so a little bit of confidence coming back in here, but this price action is not looking very promising. I mean, look at it, you can see there's a bearish head and shoulder pattern here. And, if you're into chart patterns, you can see clearly we've got a couple of bear flags, if you will, potentially bearish. Okay, so now we're coming back to retest this level here. Can it head in either direction? Yes, it can. I mean, it could end up being range bound through here, and then into the end of the week, maybe then we see some a real direction starting to unfold as the week progresses. But just be careful, as I mentioned, for any fake breakouts. For example, if this looks like it's rallying and it comes back into here, we could see it run and then, head in the other direction and vice versa. So it's a little bit precarious at the moment with this. So in terms of any trend continuation, I mean, the only thing that has stood out really is gold. Let's just go through the charts quickly, and we've got a fair bit of volatility through here at the moment. This is the Asia Open, right? So it pushed up, dropped, now it's pushing up again. Yeah, I'm pretty cautious at the moment. Okay, let's just run through and just see what we've got now. Usually around this time, after we see the initial balance or the opening range into the Asian session, it tends to pick a side, and at the moment it's just starting to push up here. What we could do is just have a quick look at this one, and we can see that the yen is pushing up, and the Swiss. Now that's fuchsia and green. Okay, so that's risk off. Okay, the yen and the Swiss. So here we can see the yen starting to move bullish, and the Swiss. That's the 1 hour. This one's the 4 hour. Okay, the 4 hour is still slow, lagging behind a little bit, but it's a 4 hour chart. The yen is down the bottom here, but we can see the momentum is starting to move bullish with these two, and I'm thinking that the dollar might follow. So with the yen and the Swiss pushing bullish, that would generally be the case when the VIX is pushing up. So now we've traded down into this level here, and I'm wondering whether it holds here and starts to rally, and do we reject? So if this rejects, that would strengthen the yen and the Swissy. If this pushes up, that would strengthen the yen and the Swissy and the dollar. Okay, same thing here, generally speaking. So keep an eye on the dollar index, the weekly, righto. So this is last week, new week starting. It's right at the base of this. And I'm thinking it's a possibility that we could see the dollar strengthen at this point. Okay, so we just need to be really careful. So if the dollar strengthens, we could look for the weaker currencies. Well, the CAD it's taken a dive. That's purple. The euro slowing down a little bit. Okay, so if we look at these two, say the dollar CAD. Okay, the dollar CAD has pushed back up again. Okay, so what we've got here is an inside week candle, weekly candle. That's consolidation, and it's come back into the value area of this volume profile. All right, so it could be looking to target these highs. Right, that's on the weekly. So we need to be really careful. Let's just take all that out and throw in another volume profile. Wow, this whole thing. Gee, yeah. Let's throw in another volume profile. Well, back here, just taking this range, or even back into here. What does that look like? Okay, much the same. So just pull back into the low of the value area. And we can see these pin bar candles under here. So just watch out. The dollar could, and we've got this bullish, on the 30-minute. Okay, so this is looking really interesting at the moment. Right, so this is the dollar CAD. Yeah, I mean, I probably would even consider going long the dollar CAD. It could be worth consideration for sure, and that would be a counter trend trade. And you want to be really careful. I mean, I really prefer to be trading with the trend. I'm not that keen on counter trend, but given the circumstances, there could be an opportunity. Let's have a look at this on the 4H, 4 hour. Open that up. Yeah, we want to be careful, guys. When it trades back in, so look, we've got this higher low, higher high here. So higher high, green candle. Well, I'll be bullish the dollar CAD, and I don't like it. It's not my favorite thing, to be honest. Yeah, and I've pointed this out many times, but I would rather this opportunity rather than looking for that. Just such a better proposition to look for the pullbacks and short in a trend. Right, now there's a pullback, so do you take the risk looking for bullish, risking this rolling over? I think there's a good chance that we do get that, but that's the question. And ask yourself the question, do you really want to get involved in that? That's that. So dollar CAD, so potentially we're seeing some strength come into the dollar, weakness into the CAD, higher high. I'd be a little bit more convinced if we saw more of a range down in here and then some kind of that going on. Anyway, it's Monday, counter trend, go back. The other one was the euro dollar. If the dollar's gaining, right, so this is right up at the high of this value range here. Does it break back into it and pull back down? So that's the sort of thing that I'd be keeping an eye on. So we've got a fair value gap through here. Be cautioned on these green candles, what I mentioned in my Discord, in my market analysis. Now we've got this going on. Does that trade back down looking for a couple of targets down in here? Counter trend. And do you want to trade counter trend, right? So that's the question. All right. I'm going to look for a counter trend trade, mainly based on the fact that this is looking fairly bearish. I mean, that could push back through into the high, and then in which case that would be a strong euro dollar. So this is the quandary that I'm in at the moment, see? It's very bearish price action with your head and shoulders and whatnot, and this bearish bear flag. But again, I mean, all it takes is for this to push up above here, and then we're potentially back in trend continuation territory. Right? If it breaks under here, right, it changes everything. So, two critical levels to look at is going to be this and this. Two critical levels that we need to be mindful of. Okay, so we've got volume profile, and then we've got the value area low, VAH. If you want to, you can grab a head and shoulders, okay, left shoulder, the head, and a lower right shoulder, which is usually fairly bearish. Color it red. So that's going on. Fear and greed, it should be fairly neutral. Okay, just pushing up closer to greed, but it wouldn't take much for this to drop down. Okay, the NAS 100 is sitting at a very critical level at the moment. The question is, does it break bullish above the point of control on the volume profile, or does it break bearish under the value area low? We can see the chart pattern is pretty bearish with this head and shoulders. It could trade in either direction, and that will impact the markets. So I think it's best to hold back until we see some kind of direction with the stock markets. And the NAS is a pretty good indication. Keep an eye on the USD and gold. So that's that at the moment. Keep an eye on the dollar and gold. So if we go to, gold's pushing up. Again, this is now overextended, so I'm expecting gold to pull back off this level here. This is our monster trade thing going on. So gold is overextended. Let's just open that up. Yeah, you can just grab a volume profile, throw it in, grab that. That's the bigger picture. The volume profile, and also I'll just grab this rectangle. So it's traded up into this level here. You see, you grab that and pull it through. This whole area here above these candles here, okay, is a very important level. So there would be a lot of buy stops resting up in here. It hits that. We're seeing a slightly red candle forming, indecision candle at the moment on the weekly. Right, and the volume profile, these levels generally act as significant support and resistance. Have a look at this low value, go into the low value node back in here, come back. Well, you could even pull it to the high end of this value area here, and that's a fairly significant resistance level. It coupled with the liquidity above that. They bought down in here, they bought here. This is an ideal level to take a dump, if you know what I mean. Right, so just be careful. Don't go gung-ho because this is so bullish. We jump on that bandwagon. Once it's overextended like this, you've just got to be really careful. So gold, possible pullback, and then that would couple with possible strength coming into the dollar. Looking at the DXY, it's same thing. Exactly as I mentioned, if we go back to this market analysis, don't let the green candles fool you. Keep an eye on the gold and the dollar. Watch out for fake outs. Right, so the DXY, same story. Right, it's trading down into on the weekly. This is a weekly accumulation range. Big area where there's liquidity. You can see the wick. Right, so my question is, does it hold here and do we get a bit of a pullback? Okay, so what we've got on the daily, look at this, right, and grab a fib. Okay, fib, a pullback up into here definitely wouldn't be out of the question. So the other thing you can do, is just look at it with the volume profile, of course. So the dollar, I'm thinking the dollar might hold here and then pull back in a bearish trend. Then again, it could could continue down, right? We don't know yet. So it's range bound currently. Caught in this range. It's consolidating. You've got this fair value gap here, right? So it's key area here and down the bottom, and look back. Yeah, it's pushed down into under here. All right, possibility that the dollar could hold up a little bit here, then maybe that. So I'm looking for pullbacks. That's the dollar. Keep an eye on the dollar and gold. So there's gold. Just be really careful. I'm thinking, okay, this is essentially looking to pull back, possibly. I wouldn't be buying up in here. I'm just very cautious at the moment, guys. So the CAD's weakened. Dollar CAD possibly, that might continue up. All right, so what I might do is set an alert for the dollar CAD. Let's see if we get a breakout, a bullish break. Okay, the vol momentum, add alert. And I'm going to go both. I want to see if it breaks either side. So bullish or bearish. I'll go once per bar. What I want to see if we get a crack above all of this. The volume momentum is volume profile cluster and the VWAP cluster. There's two things. So if we break out above that, that could be the opportunity. So dollar CAD possibly long. Maybe the euro dollar possibly short. All right, have a look at it. Look, see on the weekly. Okay, there's room for this to move back down. Look, all right, so I'm going, you know, a bit of a contrarian at the moment. Look at the 4 hour. Okay, see this fair value gap under here. I mean, ultimately, I'm bullish with these things, but you know, it could do that. But I'm thinking a move back down in here through this fair value gap. Look at it, right through here. Okay, so I'm looking for a euro dollar short. Yeah, so that's counter trend. I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to possibly just throw it in. Just want to catch this range, both of these range. And you know, we've got this, so just keep an eye on this as well. Grab a fixed range volume profile, and I want to pull it through, grab all of this from here to here. All right, so if it breaks under here, it's already within the high and low. If it breaks under this point of control here, and we could see it drop. All right, if you gain, counter trend possibly. Okay, possible short. All right, so I'm going to vol momentum. I'll set an alert for that. Just go any, break bullish or bearish, and just see what happens. Once per bar. Okay. Yeah, I mean, grab a Fibonacci as well. You've got this range. It's that, okay, is an accumulation either of longs or shorts, and the risk with this is what I mentioned earlier, a possible fake out. Like if it cracks this level first, it could do that. It could head in that direction, right? Or if it cracks the high, it could head in that direction. So this is what I'm talking about here. Short-term technical setups carry a high fake out risk early in the week. That's the risk. Now the other thing you could do is just get into scalping. Right, go down to a 3-minute chart, 2-minute chart, or whatever. Okay, and just go for, if that breaks under here and pulls back and then goes red again, I'll be looking for a scalping opportunity under this. Yeah, but be careful. Might get away with, you know, when this thing shifts between green and red. Right, so it's breaking under the VWAP at the moment. I want to see it break under the previous day close. Down into here. Like what I want to see here is red turn green, and then green turn red under here, and I'll be going for possibly go for short. All right, that's the euro dollar, and I've got it already marked up. In fact, you know, the other thing you can set up with this is the candle color change on the 5-minute. All right, so that will be, it'll be trend color change either direction. So I want to catch both once per bar. I'm interested in more euro dollar than gold, and maybe the dollar CAD. So the dollar CAD I'd be looking for, well, it's already turned green. But I want to see it break above VWAP, see? So it's still under the weekly VWAP. Yeah, see, it's already run, pulled back. The second rally pullback now, starting to push again. Yeah, I think I'll probably just stick with the euro dollar. Let's see what we get out of that. And anyway, guys, look, that's a bit of a take. Just take it really easy, slowly but surely at the moment. Okay, with that, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.